Disney, the owner of ABC News and daytime talk show The View, is now the subject of a new report claiming CEO Bob Iger is urging the show's host to tone down their criticism of President Donald Trump.
Always want us to be respectful and do the things and talk about the stuff we talk about. We can do all of that. But when you are blatantly giving the country the middle finger, that is blatant. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take the plane.
Don't you think when he lets these white Africans in and claims that's giving the middle finger to the black?
That's like a cross between The View and Hee Haw. Except hoo-ha.
And men, they don't like a funny woman. They're afraid if you laugh or you make a joke that maybe you'll do that when they're in bed with you.
Oh my.
Joy Behar in bed? Ooh. I thought cows slept standing up.
Imagine turning on the TV, flipping to The View, and seeing Whoopi Goldberg trying once again to deliver some kind of profound take, only to get absolutely shredded by Greg Gutfeld. And folks, this wasn't just a light jab. Greg didn't just disagree, he dismantled her argument so thoroughly that The View looked less like a talk show and more like a late-night comedy skit.
Boss tells View, enough already. Dagan, according to the Daily Beast, Disney and ABC execs have told The View to tone down their Trump bashing because they're constantly doing it. Should they, though? I mean, isn't this their brand now? They got nothing left. If you take that away, what do they have?
Because that's what happens when reality collides with Whoopi's fantasyland takes. She tosses out her moral superiority, the panel nods like they're auditioning for a Bravo reality show, and then Greg comes along and torches the entire stage. Let's start with Whoopi's favorite tactic, pretending that every cultural or political issue is somehow a personal crusade.
About The View, it's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Here, let's look at this political oddity. It really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the...
Doesn't matter if it's climate change, elections, or whether your latte has too much foam. Whoopi finds a way to turn it into an opera about oppression. Greg pointed out with his signature smirk that this isn't bravery, it's performance. It's Hollywood dressed up as activism. And the audience laughed because deep down, they know. He's right. Gutfeld took Whoopi's routine of grievance theater and exposed it for what it is.
Jackal, if you hate Kamala's cackle, according to The View's moo-moo-wearing mascot, Joy Behar, men are sexist if they're not a fan of Kamala's laugh, or funny women in general, especially if they're in bed. Roll it.
What really ticks me off about him, though, is this laughing Kamala remark. Mm-hmm. It's such a sexist remark, because a guy I was with over the weekend, a friend of mine, they said Kamala's laugh annoys me. Remember they said that about Hillary's laugh, that she was cackling. And men, they don't like a funny woman. They're afraid if you laugh or you make a joke that maybe you'll do that when they're in bed with you.
Oh my.
Joy Behar in bed? Ooh. I thought cows slept standing up.
Entertainment disguised as enlightenment. He joked that The View isn't a talk show, it's a live-action parody of Twitter. Outrage in real time with commercial breaks. Every conversation circles back to the same point. America is the villain, the audience is the victim, and Whoopi is the moral compass. Except, as Greg said, her compass is broken, spinning wildly with every news cycle. One of the sharpest moments of his roast was when he called out the irony of Whoopi's millionaire lifestyle. Here's someone lecturing about suffering, inequality, and systemic injustice, while collecting massive checks from ABC and living in luxury. Greg didn't even have to exaggerate. He simply held up the mirror. He quipped, "If life here is so unbearable, why does she sign on for another season every year?" And that line landed because it cut straight through the hypocrisy. But it wasn't just Whoopi. Greg went after The View as a whole. He painted it as the world's most unintentional comedy show. Think about it. You've got a panel of millionaires sitting in designer chairs, sipping water from crystal glasses, telling the rest of America how oppressed they are. It's like being lectured on dieting by someone at an all-you-can-eat buffet. He even compared their debates to professional wrestling, loud, staged, full of dramatic overreactions. Except, Greg said, wrestling fans know it's fake. The View's audience doesn't. And that's where the sting really hits, because the crowd that tunes in every day believes they're getting journalism or insight, when really, they're just watching emotional improv theater. And here's the thing about Greg. He doesn't just laugh at them, he makes the audience laugh with him. He invites viewers to see the absurdity. He's the guy at the back of the classroom whispering jokes during the teacher's lecture, and everyone secretly agrees with him, even if they're too scared to admit it out loud. Another highlight? The way he mocked Whoopi's constant attempts to shut down conversations she doesn't like. If a guest or even a co-host steps out of line, Whoopi waves her hand like royalty dismissing a peasant. Greg roasted this habit perfectly, calling it the Whoopi Goldberg School of Debate. If you can't win, just act offended and end the show. The brilliance here is that Gutfeld isn't mean for the sake of being mean. He's pointing out the absurdity of people who live in mansions, work cushy jobs, and still claim they're living under constant oppression. It's satire with teeth. And the more Whoopi dramatizes her role as America's victim-in-chief, the more material she hands Greg on a silver platter. And the best part? Greg's roast resonated because people are tired of being told they're living in some dystopian nightmare by celebrities who clearly aren't suffering, tired of the endless cycle of outrage on The View. And most of all, tired of Whoopi's contradictions. One minute she's the voice of truth, the next minute she's making statements so ridiculous even her co-hosts try to shuffle past them awkwardly. Greg called it out with precision. He didn't just say Whoopi was wrong, he showed how her whole act falls apart under the slightest bit of scrutiny. And he did it with humor, which makes the truth sting even more. By the end of his takedown, you could almost feel the ripple. Whoopi, sitting high on her ABC throne, suddenly looked a lot smaller. The View, which prides itself on being untouchable, suddenly looked like easy prey. And Gutfeld, he walked away with what he always gets: laughter, applause, and the satisfaction of exposing a sham. So here's the takeaway for the audience. When you watch Whoopi on The View, remember, you're not seeing unfiltered truth. You're watching performance art. And Greg Gutfeld, with a grin and a one-liner, ripped away the curtain. The Emperor has no clothes, and Greg was just the guy bold enough to say it out loud. And that's why this roast wasn't just funny, it was necessary. Because sometimes the loudest voices in media need to be reminded that the rest of us can see through the act. And nothing does that better than laughter, especially when it's aimed straight at the throne of daytime TV's self-proclaimed queen. Now imagine Whoopi hearing all this. You know she's fuming, probably clutching her pearls and wondering how anyone could dare mock her moral lectures. But here's the thing. If you don't want to be roasted, don't serve the comedy on a silver platter. And right now, The View is running an all-you-can-eat buffet for Greg Gutfeld, and he's not leaving the table anytime soon.